Are lab-grown diamonds the future of engagement rings, or are they just fakes? Whether you think about diamonds like political strategist Henry Kissinger, who once said, "A diamond is a chunk of coal that did well under pressure," or more like Hollywood actress and serial husband collector Elizabeth Taylor, who said, "Big girls need big diamonds," there's no escaping the allure and mystique of diamonds and diamond engagement rings. According to the Knott's 2023 Real Wedding Study, who surveyed nearly 10,000 US couples, diamonds remain the most popular choice for engagement rings, garnering 85% of purchases. But with more couples becoming conscious of the ethics, the politics, and the market and environmental costs surrounding natural mined diamonds, lab grown gems are making waves in the world of fine jewellery. Today I'm chatting with Talitha Cummins from the Cut Jewellery, a specialist in lab-grown diamond engagement rings. And she's going to teach you how lab-grown diamonds compare to their mined counterparts in terms of appearance, cost and sustainability, and the latest trends that Talitha's seeing with engaged couples. So whether you're in the market for some bling, because, lab-grown diamonds aren't restricted to only engagement rings, or you're just curious about this massive disruptor to the $100+ billion global diamond industry, this episode will give you plenty to think about. Let's get stuck into it.
Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast.
Hi Talitha, it's so lovely to meet you and thank you for coming on the podcast.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, Camille.
I'm really excited to delve a little bit deep because, as we were just mentioning before we press record, there are some, what would you call them, urban myths and stuff about lab-grown diamonds, and some people just totally discount them. And, with your permission, I'd love to really sift through that stuff.
Absolutely. That's the fun part, I think, and trying to educate people, because I'll give you an example. A mother and her daughter came in a couple of weekends ago, and the mother said, "I hate lab-grown diamonds. I don't like them. I don't want them. My daughter wants a lab-grown engagement ring and I don't want her to get one. But we've come here because you seem like you know what you're talking about. And my daughter wants an engagement ring." And I said, "Okay, so tell me what you hate so much about lab-grown diamonds." And she said, "They're fake. They're just trying to be a copy of a diamond." And anyway, by the end of it, I'd answered all of her questions and she was asking me to quote for a lab diamond tennis bracelet. But anyway,
No, you converted her.
I converted her. And I think it's a lack of understanding of what lab-grown diamonds is that has, created this sort of image with some people that they're fake. They're not fake. So a lab-grown diamond is chemically, physically and visually the same as a diamond that comes from the earth. They are both a mineral made up of carbon. So carbon is carbon. You can grow it or you can pull it from the earth. They sparkle in the same way. They have the same refractive index. So they sparkle in the same way because they're made of the same substance. So they are not fake. They are diamond. They're graded by in accordance with the 4 Cs, and they have the same hardness as diamond as well. They're 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness. So they are the same product.
Same. How can you tell them apart, Talitha?
So with natural diamonds or mined diamonds, they have a very small percentage of 0.05% of nitrogen in them. So there are very sophisticated machines which can actually tell the difference. To the naked eye, you cannot. Gemologists perhaps sometimes could with a microscope. And there's also on the side of the diamonds is inscribed, tiny laser inscription on the side of the diamonds, which will say LG and a serial number after it. So that's another way to tell the difference. But to the naked eye, they are exactly the same.
For all intents and purposes, yeah. I love how you converted mum. That's brilliant. Um, I can imagine.
She was not liking it at all. She didn't want to be there, but I answered a lot of her questions, and yeah, we got her over the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens with a lot of people as well.
And she said that you seem to know what you were talking about. One of the first things that I would love you to just cover off for my listener is like, what's your pedigree there, Talitha? Like, where do you come from? What's your background? How are you in this?
Yes. So I was a journalist for the Seven Network for 15 years and another 5 years in the media industry. But before that, I was working in the diamond industry. And my uncle has actually been in the industry for 53 years, I think it is. So after my stint in media, he sort of gave me a call and said, I think you should come into this industry because you'd really enjoy it. And the bespoke side of the diamond industry is going really well for us. I think you'd love it. So I went to the GIA in London and did some study, a lot of online study here. And here we are. I'm a year down the track with my business.
That's, I don't know, to an untrained ear, that sounds like a really big leap from journalism into lab grown diamonds.
I gave you the simplified version of it. And I did probably about 6 or 7 months online study. And I still wasn't convinced until I went to London.
Right.
And in this London practical diamond grading laboratory, there were, I think, maybe 8 to 10 of us, and we've all got our microscopes. And you spend the week being able to look at a diamond. They just hand you a diamond and you have to identify it and look at its characteristics. And it was near the end that they handed us 2 diamonds and they said, now one of these is a lab-grown diamond and the other is a mined diamond, and we want you to tell them apart.
Yeah, how much fun.
Yeah, it was fun, but we couldn't. So everyone's sort of looking through the microscope and saying, well, I don't know. And to me, that was the day a business was born. I left there, we'd finished, and I remember going home and got a book and I started reading about it. I was online watching videos and really trying to understand the industry as a whole. The mine diamond industry has quite a checkered past. And I just thought, this excites me. This is a disruptor. This is technology. Mother Nature is pretty incredible in creating these diamonds in the earth, but so are humans, and to be able to refine this technology to the point where we can now wear it on our hands. I loved that. I loved the innovation, but I also loved, and my uncle is a very big part of my business as well, obviously. I loved the old world craftsmanship, and I loved the blending of the two. So that's when I called my uncle and I said, I don't know if I would sell mined diamonds. And he said, what? You're chopping off a large segment of the market. And I said, well, it's not that I won't sell them, but I love lab diamonds and the value proposition they offer.
Well, yeah. And maybe Talitha, like, what are the advantages? Because Mother Nature's done a pretty good job till now. If you could tell us, like, when they came about and how they came about. And I don't know, in my mind, they're 20 years old? But I bet you they've been around for longer.
Well, the technology has actually been around since the 1950s, and General Electric was using the diamond that was created in labs for industrial purposes, which, for saws and drills and tools and all those sorts of things, diamond is widely used. But not until the last 20 years has the technology been refined enough for us to be able to wear it on our fingers and in gem quality diamond.
Yeah. Not as a drill bit.
No.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's sort of the brief history. And I guess, as my uncle says, he's spent the last, 50 odd years watching young ladies, young men come in and looking for an engagement ring and saying, I've got, X amount of budget, I've got a $15,000 budget or $10,000 budget. And they have to really compromise on the size of the stone that they want and the quality of the stone that they want because of the price, because of the cost of that ring. So what I love about lab diamonds is that you don't have to compromise on size or quality. And in fact, for that $10,000 or $15,000 budget, you can pretty much have something like a 3 or 4 carat diamond ring made with, incredible craftsmanship, in the same way a diamond that is graded by the GIA, for a fraction of the price that you would pay for a natural diamond.
I like how the dollar stretches further there.
It does. And it looks exactly the same because it is carbon diamond. I just love the value proposition that it offers, and I just found that really appealing. And it's been something that has, become very, very popular, especially in the last 6 or 7 years. The Rappaport is now saying that half of engagement ring purchases in the United States this year will be with lab-grown diamonds. So
Shut up.
it had a major impact on the diamond industry.
Wow. They must hate you.
They do, yeah. I don't know if you've read the comments on our Instagram page and our reels, but yeah, they do. I understand, to a degree, it's a disruptor. It's like Uber to the taxi industry in a way. That being said, natural diamond merchants can, if you're selling natural diamonds, you can sell lab diamonds as well. And my uncle, who's been in the industry for 53 years, he's obviously seen a lot of incarnations of diamond over the years, moissanite, cubic zirconia, all sorts of attempts to emulate the diamond. And he was not sold on lab diamonds at first because he said, I just don't believe that this can be, a thing. But he's now very convinced, to the point where if he's got 40 engagement rings that he's making, 38 of them are lab-grown diamonds. And he said that has flipped on its head completely in the last 5 or 6 years. It was the opposite, and now the tide has really turned.
And in this environment as well, Talitha, I can imagine that, everyone wants to get a little bit more for their money.
Yeah.
But is it about double? Double the size?
It can be more than double. Yes.
Wow.
It can be more than double. There are 2 sort of segments of the lab diamond industry emerging now as well. There's the really high quality and well graded, nicely cut diamond. And then there are, with the technology, I mean, it's a gold rush, right? It's been
Right.
The growth in this industry has, increased by billions and billions of dollars year on year. So everyone is trying to jump on to that trend, and there are some poor quality growers out there growing them quickly, trying to get them onto the market and dumping them on e-commerce sites. So you really have to trust who you're buying from and be confident in their ability to choose the diamond for you. You get what you pay for. And I think the public doesn't really understand this. A lab diamond is not a lab diamond necessarily. They're not all equal. You can go on sites and think you're getting a good deal, and you get what you pay for, I think.
Yeah. But then the next question, of course, Talitha, is, so how do we know that we're getting what we pay for? What should we be looking for?
Yes, absolutely. So there is a certificate, okay. GIA has the reputation as the best grader in the world, although we buy IGI diamonds as well. There are great examples of both of those, but you need something with a really nice colour. With manufacturers who speed up the growing process, you can see a brownie tinge to these diamonds. And there's something that needs to be screened for called brown, green and milky. So it's BGM. So you need your jeweler to screen for that.
Sorry, I'm loving all these acronyms, Talitha. I'm trying to keep up. Keep going.
So looking out for BGM, looking for the cut of the diamond. Look at the diamond. Is it sparkling in the way? Is it alive? Is it bringing light? Because a poorly cut diamond you can look at some diamonds and they'll just fall flat, and they may be an E, high clarity, high colour on the certificate, but something doesn't quite look right. And you sort of question that and think, no, that's not actually right. So as well as trusting your jeweler, there are a couple of things to look out for.
And so then I'm guessing as well, Talitha, that the online market in lab-grown diamonds is a bit of a raffle.
Yes.
Because if you can't actually see it yourself in person and you don't get that certificate and you don't know if they're a trusted jeweler, then...
So, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I know, some very big e-commerce sites, and I look at their prices and I think, wow, that's really quite low. And, you look at the diamonds and you understand why they're so low, because they're low quality. So, yeah, really important to trust the person that you are buying from.
Get into store, get and have a look.
If you had a sweary, chocolate-addicted, wine-sipping fairy godmother who could help you with your wedding planning, what would you wish for? Perhaps no more waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, wondering what you've forgotten, or fretting about your RSVPs. Maybe no more spreadsheets or post-it notes or endless to-do lists. Well, I can help you with all of that. Websites is an Australian wedding website builder, guest management software, and wedding project planner all in one. Why is this such a game changer for you? Well, imagine everything to do with your wedding being in one place, updated in real time in the cloud, shareable to anyone else that's helping you, password protected for your guests, with notifications to tell you what needs to be done next and by when. It's amazing, right? I love how easy websites is to set up and use, and how there are no ads on the platform yelling at you to spend more money on your wedding. To get started on your very own free wedding website, just head to wedsites.com. That's WEDSITES.com, and enter the code UNBRIDELYPOD, that's UNBRIDELYPOD, to get 10% off their paid planning tools. The link is in the show notes.
I'm sure there are plenty of my listeners out there who are like that mum that you described at the start, who are like, no, not on my watch. They're fake.
Yes.
But you've discussed that. You've talked about how, physically, chemically, they're same. They're exactly the same. You get more for your money. But then I was also wondering, you mentioned the ethical, the moral, the checkered past of natural diamonds. Tell me about the advantages of the lab-grown diamond industry as a whole versus what's happened in the past with mining and selling of natural diamonds.
Yes. Well, diamonds in the past, natural diamonds, have funded civil wars. And, there have been human rights abuses and all sorts of awful things that have gone on. Historically, we're talking 20 years ago plus. Does that still exist? I don't know. There are sanctions on Russia. We're not accepting diamonds from Russia. However, I just read a report yesterday that Russia can still supply the diamonds that were ordered pre the sanctions being put into place. So
what?
There are controls, but how powerful are they and what are they actually doing? And I would argue that, diamonds coming from Russia, nearly like 80 or 90% of the world's diamonds are cut in India. And Russia's sending diamonds to India to cut. So they're probably getting out to the rest of the world through there as well. So
right. Because where there's money and where there's power, people will find a way.
Absolutely, of course. Now, that being said, I know the natural diamond industry supports and props up a lot of countries and suppliers, provides employment and does some good as well. So I don't want to discount that altogether. We also sell natural diamonds. If someone comes in and says, I would really like a natural diamond, that's not a problem because they're exactly the same product. So obviously mining has a huge environmental impact. Lab diamonds, at the start, they were sold as sustainable, but sustainable isn't actually a word I'd use to associate with lab diamonds on the whole. There are great examples where lab-grown diamonds are being grown by solar power. There's a number of facilities doing that now. However, that's not all of them. Think about these diamonds. They take from between 4 weeks to 6 months to grow. That requires a lot of electricity. So environmentally, what is worse? But I also take the diamonds on the face value because at the end of the day, that's what the market is telling us. They want beautiful diamonds and that's what we supply.
Tell me, I bet you know this off the top of your head, Talitha. How long does it take a diamond to form naturally?
Well, they say billions of years. They could have been sitting in the earth for literally many lifetimes versus a diamond that can be grown in a lab from between 4 weeks and 6 months. So, there are people who still really appreciate the fact that this carbon or this diamond has come from the earth. And I respect that as well. My uncle's one of them. He loves natural diamonds and that's his choice. But also, as jewellers, we need to park our own views and listen to what the clients are saying. And right now, the world is telling us that lab diamonds are becoming incredibly popular. And I don't know, the Pandora CEO came out the other day and said in 10 years' time, lab diamonds will be majority of the market. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's very cool. And so we've had a chat about the cost benefit, which seems enormous. And now I'm a bit regretful. I just had my 10-year wedding anniversary, Talitha, and I feel like I let my husband off the hook now. So I don't know, maybe I need something for our 11th. I'll work on that. But the value of the lab-grown diamonds, how do they hold over time?
Engagement ring white diamonds, whether they come from a lab or a mine, don't retain or gain value unless they're a truly rare gem. And that would be the coloured diamonds, the pinks, the argyles, the fancy reds. Argyle mine is closed now. So obviously the diamonds that have come from there over the years are selling at really high and retaining and even gaining in value. But on the majority, engagement ring white diamonds are not rare. Many people in the Western world have one on their hand. Russia itself has 860 million carats of diamonds still in the ground, ready to be pulled out.
Wow.
They're not rare, but that's how they've been marketed over the years. So
Right.
what we say to our clients is do not buy a ring, whether it's natural or a lab, as an investment because you won't get your money back. If you try to sell that on the secondary market, the best you can do is, go to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, an estate jeweler, a pawnbroker. There is no
Yeah.
solid secondary market for these stones. There's auction houses, but that's typically for the 3+ carat diamond rings. And for the most part, that is not what people in the world are wearing on their fingers for engagement rings.
And by the same token there, Talitha, I guess, if you're purchasing an engagement ring for someone and you're going, oh, I wonder what the return on investment is, maybe
Yeah.
you're not going into the engagement for the right reasons anyway.
Perhaps, yes, you may want to rethink.
Yeah. But okay, same as natural diamonds anyway. So we're looking for a reputable jeweler, and you guys don't physically grow them. You buy them from growers.
Correct.
And are the growers here in Australia or elsewhere?
There are growers in Dubai. We source a lot of them from Dubai, the UK, the US, and then a lot have popped up in China and India. India has a huge market there for growers. And some of them are also starting to use solar power because they realize the world wants diamonds that are, there is a call for diamonds that are grown without environmental harm.
Yeah, that's cool. Talitha, on your Instagram, because you're popping up all over the place and you really are the face of the Cut Jewellery, you had a post that talked about how the trend now in getting engaged is you don't rock up to your favourite person with the ring and you've chosen the ring and it's got the diamond or whatever gem in it and you go and get engaged. More couples are rocking up with the gem itself.
Yes.
Like, it's almost symbolic. Like, tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trend that we're noticing. And I don't think it's overly new, but it seems to be very popular at the moment. The partner will come into us and buy a beautiful stone, a beautiful diamond, and we'll put it in a nice box and they will use that to propose to their partner. And then they can both come in together and design the ring itself with us. That's great in a number of ways, I think, because there's still the element of surprise there. Secondly, the partner gets to choose the ring that they're going to wear on their hand for the rest of their life, which is very important.
Yeah.
And, I just think it's really lovely for the couple to be part of the process together. We've got a private showroom and they come in, have a glass of champagne and sit down and we work out what we're going to do with the beautiful diamond. So that's fabulous. But also I would say consumer purchasing for diamonds has really shifted as well. The couples are coming in together now and making a decision on the ring typically, or the partner's bringing the other one in and saying, give me an opinion, which of these do you like? And then the element of surprise will be later when they bring up the ring that they know that their partner is going to like.
That you're guaranteed will get a good response.
And I tell you that I'm surprised if a man or a woman comes in by themselves now and says, I want to buy a ring for my partner, I'm going to surprise her. That is in the minority for sure. So, yeah, it's a very different time. You know, the wedding industry, it used to be full of rules about, you know, you have to surprise your partner with a proposal and you spend 3 months' salary and like all of these rules that used to exist, and they don't exist anymore. And especially the generations that are brought up on TikTok and Instagram, they don't seem to prioritize spending 3 months' salary on a ring. You know, they just don't. It's a different time now. And I think, you know, most couples that come into us have great jobs and they're lawyers and doctors and doing well in the professional world, but they say, we've got this wedding to pay for, we're buying a house, and having, you know, $50,000 or $60,000 sitting on their finger is just not the priority anymore.
Quite practical.
Yeah, I like it.
But we're seeing that in the wedding, like, you know, the planning as well. Both partners are actually engaged, involved. They have a say. The joke of having, you know, in heterosexual couples, having the groom rock up and go, oh, this is beautiful. Yeah, welcome to your wedding. Surprise. Yeah, it's dated. It's done, I think. So it's really lovely to see that in the engagement as well, that they're going into a partnership.
For sure. Especially at the moment when we've had, 11 or 12 interest rate rises in a row and, you know, pressure, the cost of living, all of these things, they're really genuinely considerations now, whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or you work in a retail store, it doesn't matter. Everyone is facing a rising cost of living.
Yeah. So exciting. It's very, very cool, Talitha. So to wrap it up, if you had to give one last bit of advice to my listener who is either just celebrated their anniversary, might need another ring, or is about to get engaged, is thinking about it, what would you say to that person?
I would just say buy the ring that suits you, that you want, the size that you want, and that fits your budget. The time of going and purchasing something that is going to break the bank, essentially, it's not necessary anymore. And thankfully, there are other options. So do what works for you. If you want a lab diamond, you buy a lab diamond. If you want natural, you buy natural. No one should shame or criticize you for making either choice.
And if they do, Talitha, they can bring them in to you, can't they? And you'll change their mind.
Very happy to talk to people and change them.
Just like Mum. Gorgeous. If anyone is looking for a trusted source of lab-grown diamonds here in Australia, are you only based in Australia, Talitha?
No, we've actually got clients all over the world now. So we're doing rings in San Francisco, lady in Saint-Tropez, New York. So it's fabulous. We're spreading the love. But we also do, you know, virtual consultations if you're not in Sydney.
And so where can my listener find you and your sparkly things?
Well, I will bombard you on social media if you follow me, the Cut Jewellery. Also on TikTok at the Cut Jewellery, and YouTube, where we have about 12 followers at the moment, but hopefully we're going to grow that.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
They love us, those 15.
Yes. I just haven't discovered you yet.
No, exactly.
What we'll do, Talitha, is I'll make sure that all the links to your socials and your website are in the show notes of this episode. So, listener, you can just scroll down on your app, click on the link, find the pretty things, get inspired, get excited, and know that it's, not going to break the bank.
Yes.
Which is so refreshing to be able to say with a straight face. Thank you so much for your time, Talitha.
Absolute pleasure, Camille. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast.
For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.